Harry's wife. We're untouchable. Hello, I'm H.G. Tudor. If you wanted some insight into the mentality of Harry's wife and why she does as she does, then this next article is rather useful. Now, as always, I leave it up to you to make a determination as to the veracity of the material. I provide you with an analysis. Whilst, of course, this material comes from the bastion of journalistic excellence that is Heat magazine, it doesn't necessarily mean that it is wrong, and it does encapsulate the way that Harry's wife sees the world. Defined Harry's wife, we're untouchable. It is a facet of the narcissist to believe that the narcissist is impregnable. It has to be that way in order to ensure that the narcissist forges forward, that they see themselves above everybody else. Of course, certain narcissists will dole out pity plays and false compassion and false contrition and false humility, which makes them seem like they perhaps don't think that they are the best thing since sliced bread. But that's just a manipulation. They do. They regard themselves as superior to all around them, whether they are the bombastic and obvious lesser, the cowardly mid-ranger, or the clearly successful and superior greater. The fact is, whether it's actual or imagined, the narcissist regards themselves as superior. It has to be that way because we are the doers, not the done to. There is that view that the narcissist can do anything we like, that we can go where we want, affect what we will, be with who we choose, and it's always right, and that should be allowed. In certain instances, the high-handedness and arrogance of the narcissist comes to the fore with such attitudes of, we're untouchable. But let's dive into the article and learn more about this mindset. They closed the door on their royal life almost 3 years ago. Well, not quite. There was a wedge. But that hasn't been an obstacle in Prince Harry and Harry's wife's path to becoming the king and queen of bombshells. As the dust settles on the revelations from their Netflix series, Harry's Wife and Harry, the question now is whether the Duke and Duchess of Sussex should keep their titles. In their docuseries, Harry recalled how he had been in contact with his father regarding his and Harry's wife's initial desire to move to Canada, days after it was announced they would be quitting royal duties. In one of those emails, I had mentioned that if this wasn't going to work out, then we would be willing to relinquish our Sussex titles if need be, Harry explained. Harry and Harry's wife were gifted their Duke and Duchess of Sussex titles by the Queen on their wedding day in 2018. And with the news that a Conservative MP wants to introduce legislation that could give Parliament the power to strip the couple of their titles, we're told that Harry 38 and Harry's wife 41 would not consider it to be a knock. I don't believe that for a moment. The loss of the titles would hit the pair hard because of the statuses associated with them. Harry's wife believes that she's superior to all mortal things upon this planet, and that a title is representative of her superiority. Its loss would wound her. Its removal would also mean that she loses something that is utilised for the purposes of acquiring residual benefits, money. It would also impact upon her facade. The loss of status to a narcissist is a major, major blow. Of course, it may well be the case that there is some bullshitting going on to say, oh, don't care about the titles. If they go, they go. But believe me, she cares about them all right. The article continues, even if this bill goes through and Charles signs it, Harry's wife and Harry won't be bound by anyone on this issue other than themselves, an insider tells Heat. As far as any fallout from the documentary goes, Harry's wife is saying that they're lucky she and Harry went as soft as they did on the royals. That is demonstrative of her arrogance, her lack of emotional empathy, her high-handed and haughty behaviours, and Kate and William in particular getting off lightly. She firmly believes they're in the driving seat and in an untouchable position. Well, if she spent some time actually looking at the headlines and looking at social media, she'd find that most people do not believe her, most people are sick and tired of her, and that actually This repeated whining and whinging is working against her and old Ginger Bollocks. She firmly believes they're in the driving seat and in an untouchable position, delusion, arrogance, provided they stay together and don't let anyone divide them. Assertion of control over their intimate partner, primary source, folie de. While the series contained plenty of bombshells, one of the most shocking moments saw Harry touching on his turbulent relationship with William, claiming his older brother saw red during a family meeting held after the exit announcement. It was terrifying to have my brother scream and shout at me, and my father say things that just simply weren't true, and my grandmother quietly sit there and just take it all in. The saddest part of it was this wedge that it created between myself and my brother, he said. The wedge is who you've been hiding your sausage in, Harry. The spider. The final episode also delved into Harry and Harry's wife's motives to sit down with Oprah Winfrey for their tell-all interview in 2021, as well as behind-the-scenes footage from the aftermath. Cameras captured the exact moment Harry received a message from Prince William about the interview. While no light was shed on the content, the Duke showed a shocked Harry's wife the phone and said, "I wish I knew what to do." Elsewhere, Harry's wife explained how the interview came about, saying, "Oprah had originally reached out to us through the communications director when we were at Kensington Palace. There was excitement." Later adding, "That interview, it was less about setting the record straight than at least filling in the blanks that other people were filling in for us. Assertion of control, nullification of threat to control." And with their story now laid bare for the world, Heat Insider says that the couple who live in a $40 million California mansion with their children Archie 3 and Lilibet 1 are hopeful the royal family will cut them some slack. Arrogance, wanting it their own way. They're very aware that some of the topics they've raised will have hit a raw nerve. No shit, Sherlock. But holding back about these matters would have felt disingenuous. So that's a little bit like the usual mid-range justification of, I'm sorry that it's hurt that I punched you, but your face was offending me, and therefore it was necessary for me to punch you. So the fact is, yes, we realise this has hit a raw nerve, but we had to do it anyway. Their goal from day one was to get on the front foot and control the narrative. Indeed, because that's the assertion of control, instead of being manipulated and negatively affected by it, paranoia. They're proud to have taken the bull by the horns. So, if of course all of that is accurate, they're proud to have been abusive towards their family members, proud to have ostracised them, proud to have caused anguish for the late Queen in her last days, proud to have caused her problems when she was grieving the loss of her husband. They, of course, and her, through the absence of emotional empathy, are dismissive by saying it's about taking the bull by the horns and we needed to do what we needed to do. The typical arrogance and lack of emotional empathy that we've come to expect of Harry's wife. I'm H.G. Tudor. Thank you for listening.